right, they are the feel-good flicks that come around every Christmas, and we love this one. It's a family favourite. Starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci and Catherine O'Hara, the Home Alone franchise remains a family fave.
Heather, do a head count. Make sure everyone's in the vans.
It's every parent's worst nightmare, mistakenly leaving one of the kids home alone.
What else could we be forgetting?
Kevin!
And for this cheeky 8-year-old, the reality of the situation sets in real fast.
I don't know who's in there, but somebody just got blown away. Huh? Somebody beat us to the job. They're in there.
Tasked with defending his home against the infamous Wet Bandits, Kevin attempts to outsmart the troublesome duo, Harry and, of course, Marv, played by Daniel Stern.
How do you want to go in?
We'll go to the back door. Maybe he'll let us in. You never know.
Yeah, he's a kid. Kids are stupid.
And after multiple injuries, the Wet Bandits are defeated until they cross paths again in the second film.
He's got a good scream on, doesn't he? Now Daniel Stern is giving fans a look behind the scenes in his debut memoir called Home and Alone. And we are very pleased to say he joins us live now from Los Angeles. Daniel, congrats on the book.
Thank you so much. That was funny to see all those clips. I hadn't seen that in a long time. A lot of old friends there.
We all get to relive it again, don't we? Because you've kept us waiting with this book, but why did you decide to tell your story now?
You know, I hit 65. And I kind of went, it didn't even start as a book, actually. It just started as, I better stop for a second and just regroup here and see how lucky I've been and see how I got from there to here. And I just started writing down what happened to me and then thought, oh, you know, this would be kind of interesting for a legacy for my great-grandkids, because this Home Alone movie will never go away. It plays every year, and I thought, well, someday in 21, 23, somebody's going to be watching the movie, one of my family, and say, hey, here's what Grandpa was actually doing. And then it sort of developed into a book, and I showed it to my agent, and they thought it was funny. And I dropped out of high school. I couldn't read when I was a kid. Wow. So for me, writing a book has been an accomplishment of a lifetime, just getting it out, and so it's been a sort of a personal creative challenge too.
Well, you've had so many accomplishments in your lifetime, Daniel. Let's talk about that movie, though. I mean, it's iconic. The casting is iconic. The team behind it is iconic. But I want to talk to you about working with Joe Pesci and Macaulay Culkin. I mean, Pesci, first of all, I mean, he is at the height of his powers here.
Yeah, and they've never left. Joe's an actor who is extraordinary. He can be the most dangerous person. He can be the funniest person. He's a super talent. We actually knew each other from a movie we did years before that. We were buddies already, in a movie we were both luckily cut out of called I'm Dancing as Fast as I Can. But we cracked each other up then, and getting back together for this was just a dream, and the chemistry was already kind of there. By the way, speaking of Joe Pesci, a little note for your viewers here. Besides all that artistry, Joe happens to be one of the fantastic jazz singers of all time. He sings under the name Joe Doggs, D-O-G-G-S. And if you Google him or listen to him on your music, you're going to be blown away by another facet to his artistry. So he's a genius through and through.
And you're also an incredible sculptor. You're in your studio right now.
I am. I'm in this crazy studio. Like I showed you, like there's some of my sculptures and stuff in the background. I found, I'm an artistic kind of weirdo, and I got to keep going. I got to keep doing stuff. So I wrote a book. I'm in the sculpture studio. I'm on my farm. We're farmers as well. We grow lemons and avocados, and I've got a cattle ranch, and I got a Boys and Girls Club we started. So I like to keep busy, and there's lots of things to do in this life.
Well,
and,
speaking of being on the ranch, that just drags me right back into City Slickers, which is one of the great movies. You've talked about wanting to do City Slickers 3, so getting Billy Crystal, Lovitz, getting back on the farm. Can you convince them to do it?
I'll beg. I mean, I'm not too proud to beg. I was just talking to Billy today, actually. It did not come up. But if, once this show hits, I think it's going to be, pretty much in the works. It was so fun such, again, I've led the luckiest life. How many people is their job is to go do a movie like that, ride the horses, and with stunt people around who help you do things you never thought you could do, herding cattle and riding across a raging river and all that. So I've led the most blessed life and worked with the best people. And but I will put in a word to Billy next time I talk to him.
Dude.
Well, also, not many people may know this, but you were the narrator for the Wonder Years.
course.
What was that like?
I was. Wasn't that a beautiful show?
Oh,
That
yes.
show, one of the most emotional experiences I've had as an actor. And I wasn't even on the show. I just read the stories every week. But it really taught me about storytelling. And, but I grew up at the same time that Kevin Arnold grew up. I was the same year. The writer of the show actually grew up. I didn't know her, but she lived in the neighboring town. So it so much felt like my life. And the other interesting thing about it was I was I was like a dropout high school kid. I couldn't read, but having to read that Wonder Years narration every week, after 5 years, I learned how to read. So that was a bonus, surprise bonus for old dyslexic Dan here to grow in another way.
I don't know. I think
Love
you're a real
that.
inspiration just to keep going and keep
Yes.
trying new things. But you are such a legend. What an honor to have you on the show, Daniel. Congrats on the book, and thank you so much for being here.
I can't thank you enough for having me on. And by the way, the sales of the book are going to the Boys and Girls Club. I'm giving all of the money to them. So even if you don't love me, if you hate the story, at least you're giving it to a good cause, because the Boys and Girls Clubs are a great organization. And anyway, thanks again for having me. And I can't wait to come back to your country. I love it down there.
Anytime, my
Joy
friend.
chatting to
Anytime.
you.
Great to speak to you. You can get
All
your
right,
copy
thank
of that
you.
fantastic book, Home and Alone. As he said, all those proceeds go to that Boys and Girls Club over there that he set up. Go to all good bookstores now.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and
What's my name again?
oh my God, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
always happens.
What's she talking about?
Always happens.